Okay, so on this bumper you have lots of things going on. You have one that comes down here, we have a split here, and then we have one that comes this way. So the split is right on this body line. So what you want to do first is make sure that you're not tacking anywhere. So we're stuck here. So I want to make sure that I lift that up first. Make sure that's slipping. Slipping here, slipping there. And then I know that I'm stuck here, so I'm gonna undo that. And the reason why we're doing this is so that when we're pulling in certain spots, we're not actually fighting where it's tacked. So we're letting the material do what it's meant to do without overstretching it or getting stretch lines. So on this bumper, it's best to start right at this crease line. So we're gonna tack that down first. So I just sprayed a little bit of alcohol in there, and I'm lining up this top edge and then down this side. I'm gonna tack that first. And then I'm gonna tack right in there so that that doesn't lift. So I'm just gonna spray a little bit of alcohol in there, use my finger to push it in there, and try and get it nice and tight in there. You're not gonna get it fully laid down in there, but you wanna have it so that it's not moving around this area. So now that we're good, I'm gonna finish doing this piece. So I just wanna make sure that this doesn't have a hair under it, and then it's still moving. I'm gonna just pull it up a little bit so that that line matches. And see how right here it's actually like dry, so that if I go over that, I'm still gonna just leave bubbles. So I wanna make sure I lift that up again. And then I'm just gonna spray alcohol under that corner so that the rest of the piece doesn't move. I'm gonna get that tacked. And then I'm pulling with my squeegee, and I wanna pull this, just this little guy, just out a little bit. So I'm just pulling from here. See how I'm pulling down? I'm just gonna squeegee that down. Just like that. Get the tape off there. So we're not gonna be able to lay this edge completely down. It's gonna keep popping up, this piece here, until we heat it down. So that's okay, we can just leave that for now. Now we wanna go all the way from this spot. We don't want to do anything else here. We want it to be nice and soapy under there. So if it is sticking, we're going to lift this up and spray soap under there. Because we don't want it to tack before here, and we don't want it to tack over here. We don't want it to tack here because we want it to pull up and over that lip so that we can get this crap to lay down, because this is going to be really hard to lay down if you don't do it quite right. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to spray alcohol just on this side so that when I pull and tack, it stays for me. So I'm going to pull and tack that in there. You don't even have to squeegee it yet. If you don't want to, you can leave it until you make sure you get all that out. We're just going to squeegee that down quick. Up a little high there, but that's okay. So the next thing you're gonna say, oh, now this is creating a problem here. Well, because we still have to pull it up now and get rid of all of this. So once we pull that up to that corner, that's gonna lay all that down because we have tension pulling it this way. So I'm just gonna grab this and lay that right where it needs to be, right in that corner, and lay that down. Make sure you don't get water trapped in there like that. So now we still have a little bit of problem, but once we pull this up, see how it lays down? So we want to make sure that we do this first before we kind of tack this bottom spot, because we want it to pull up and we want enough material to go in and up under there. So I'm just gonna spray like a tiny little bit of alcohol along that edge so that that crease in there sticks. And then what I'm gonna do is kind of hold it with my hand and lay out those bigger wrinkles. And then I'm just gonna come in and spray that with soap. Make sure it's soapy so your squeegee can glide. this. So we want to make sure that this piece is up high enough too. So I'm actually going to just spray a little bit of alcohol there to pull that up, to tack it. And this is the spot that you're going to have to watch because water is going to want to try and pool in there. We got a hair back there. Better get that out first. So now I'm just gonna put my finger in there and push that water out that way or this way, but it's easier to go this way because we have a shorter edge there. And then from there, just push straight up. And you should be able to lay those out with your finger or your squeegee if you can't get your squeegee in there. And then you can lay the rest of this down. We got a hair there. And I'm pushing fairly hard because I don't want to leave any bubbles behind anywhere. Even like right here, I have a little tiny one. I want to try and push out. And then always just feel in there with your hand. You'll be able to, with your finger, you'll always be able to feel the bubble. If you can't feel it with your hand, then something's wrong with your hand. But if you put your finger in there, you should be able to feel if there's water trapped in there. And always check by the time you come down, just check that spot again because water could pool in there, either from here or from here. So now we kind of got that down. We're going to push this out. And normally I'm pulling, again, like I said, with my squeegee so that it doesn't tack up and I get wrinkle lines if I'm pushing. The only time I push is when I'm on a corner or anything like that. And see, I'm keeping this piece nice and tight, and now it's starting to get wider because this piece isn't in place. So now we want to do this piece. Again, I want to make sure everything's super soapy, even including this bottom piece, because if I'm fighting this bottom piece, I'm not going to be able to get it around this corner nice. So my next tack point is going to be around in that corner. That's where we got to hit it again.